What's up, guys? Thank you so much for coming and wanting to learn more.
Can you excuse us for just a sec?
Oh, selfless.
Yeah, come on. It's all about content, kids. Come on, like.
Am I in this?
Yeah, of course you're in this.
Let's go.
Okay. Wow. Wow,
Boom.
That's good. How are you guys doing today? Anybody learned anything today that's helped their business already?
Is your mind like going,
Cool.
oh, yet?
How many of you have something to take notes with? If you're not raising your hand, look at the person who's raising their hand. That person's going to activate their business quicker than you. Simple. Smart people take notes, and so we have been asked to come and share some of our best practices with you guys. And so if I were you, I would take notes. And even if you don't have something, everybody has a cell phone, right? So I would take your notes there.
And you know these slides will all be available to you. This is going to be recorded, but you know there's those little things you hear when you're actually sitting in the seat. It's different than something you would hear at home or when you're watching it as you're doing something else. So those nuggets, like think, oh my gosh, that reminds me of this, or I just had an idea. Write it down. Sometimes that's some of the best parts of experiencing Summit.
Absolutely. I just realized I don't have a clicker. Are we supposed to have a clicker?
I don't know.
Or do we have magic slides?
We don't need a clicker.
Okay, awesome. Why don't you tell the people what we're talking about today?
We're going to talk a little bit, it's called Products to Paychecks, but I've got to be honest, it's more like how to get people into our world. How to get people to be a thing called a lifer. And we love lifers. Someone that gets it, someone that wants it, and they're invested. It's not just one program or one product, it's like a lifetime of this.
And I think it's really easy, like once there's my clicker, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. I think it's real easy to forget, once you drink the blue Kool-Aid, right, once you're in this world, it's real easy to forget what life was like before you drank the Kool-Aid. Like, what was life before you were a coach? What was life like before you were a customer? And sometimes it's real easy to forget what your objections were, what your fears were, why you would pause. And I think it's really important as we go through this today to put ourselves in the mindset of the people that we're trying to reach.
Right, and I mean, like, they have no idea what diamond means. They have no idea what is success called. They don't know any of that. So we have to take it back a couple of notches. And that not only will help you be a fantastic coach forever, but it's going to really put all of this stuff into play, in my opinion. But Jimmy, I think it's only good that you tell them your story. Many people probably don't know.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about matching people with their goals, but Mindy and I really want you to know kind of where we're coming from. And this business really is about stories at the end of the day. We're going to go over some amazing products, but you can't lead with those. Every person in here, every chair that has a butt in it represents a story.
You said butt.
I said...
That's a bad word in my house, butt.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Wow, you're a strict mom.
Yeah.
Every chair that's filled... PG. Every chair that has a human being in it is a story. And that story is power, right? That it's not just about Success Club points and these amazing products we have. And again, going back to my point at the beginning, we get so excited about the products that we have that we want to lead with those. Because we know that we have the best products. We know that what we offer works. But if we don't start with our story, and I don't care if you've been a coach, I'm happy to say that as of June 1st was my 7-year anniversary as a Beachbody coach.
Good job, Jimmy.
I'm an old salty dog.
Yes.
Or if you signed up to be a coach right before you walked in the door, you have a story. It could be a 100-pound weight loss story. It could be I've lost 5 pounds, and it's still as powerful a story. So really quickly, my story is that I grew up a heavy kid. Came from a broken home. I didn't have a whole lot of confidence. Was heavy my whole life. And had tried other things. I'd had friends that had tried to drag me to the gym and do things, but I wasn't ready yet. And I wanted to be a performer. I wanted to do exactly kind of what I'm doing right now, is talk to a lot of people on stage with a mic. But being 100 pounds overweight, I wasn't really comfortable in my own skin. And there was a conflict there. And I basically gave up on my hopes and dreams. Tried to go to college. I was a 3-time college dropout. Oh, thanks. three-time college dropout, ended up back in my mid-20s living at home with my folks, drowning in debt. And I remember the day like it was yesterday. I'd come out of a relationship, and that moment when you step out of the shower and you kind of catch yourself there in the mirror, and I just took a minute and I looked at myself and thought, who is gonna love this? Like, I felt like I was gonna be alone the rest of my life. And that was my enough's enough moment. That's when I was ready to do something. And I started where I was, broke, walking, doing things that I just could be around the house. But it's because I made that decision is when I had a friend introduce me to a Beachbody product that I was ready, you know? And it was funny because the first time I was bartending in Dallas, and a buddy of mine told me about that he was doing Power 90, and I said no. So we're gonna take you through some of these scenarios, but I think of my journey, my 7-year journey with this, and I was a no. So don't be discouraged by a no.
Well, I think it's interesting too. Tell them what your first product really was.
Oh, right. So we had no challenge packs back then, and really
No
I was a
challenge
customer.
packs. What was Shakeology?
There was no Shakeology. There wasn't even coaching yet. But my first program I did was Power 90. But before that, I couldn't even afford that. The first product, and Mindy and I were talking about this backstage, was Activate, was the vitamins, because that's all I could afford. And sometimes I think we get so locked in, and we're gonna talk about the journey of a customer, that when we hear a no about the challenge pack that's on sale, we just assume, I can't help that person. They told me no. There's not 2 Success Club points in it for me. But that's not always the case, right?
No. And there's so many ways to get people gently involved and gently invited in. Doesn't have to be with the same mentality that we have right now. Oh my gosh, this is a challenge pack and this is what you need and this is the whole thing together. They're just like, hold up. You know, that is so expensive. And it's such a hard pill to swallow sometimes, so we have to step back. So I really wanted you to get comfortable not only telling your own story, but there has to be a connection with a person before they actually purchase something. Now, don't get me wrong, there's probably some here now, they're like, oh, I see you do this, I want it, I want to buy it. And you were like, yes, they didn't ask me any questions, they just went to the website and they bought it. I pray for that every night. Please, Lord, let someone just come to my Facebook inbox and go, I want to be a coach with you. But it doesn't really happen. So it's like we have to slowly have conversations with people. And the only way that you really connect is when you tell real stories or give real examples or let them know, okay, I get you and this is why. So when you perfect your story, Jimmy's told him 100 times, did you hear his story? Smooth, smooth, I can sing, smooth. Sorry. So it's something that if you'll perfect it, it gets so easy and there's something in everyone's story that does connect to you. So real quickly, I grew up the last of 5 kids in Wichita Falls, Texas. What? Oh, Texas, yeah, Wichita Falls. Great place to be from, hey. So anyway, my nickname was CC, and that stood for Chubby Cheeks. I remember in junior high, I tried out for the basketball team, and the coach goes, come here, girl. I go, yes. He goes, what else you like to do? And I go, I don't know, I like music. I like to dance. And he goes, why don't you try band? Like, that's like so sad, but now it's funny. I'm like so happy. I was actually in band from 6th grade all the way up. It was fun, and yes, I was in band. What the heck? Trumpet, French horn, and bells. Get you some of that. But it stilled my love for music, and I had fun, and I was in there with a lot of other people that kind of dealt with the same things I dealt with. So with that overweight life, and being CC, the last of 5 kids, and by the way, all my sisters were gorgeous and small and cute, and I was like an elephant compared to them. They called me Sasquatch, and this is funny. And they would say, you don't even need skis to ski, and Mindy, your feet are so big, you know? And then finally one day I came back with an Oompa Loompa comment. They were silent. I finally nailed it. Nothing wrong with big people or short people, I'm just saying that's what I grew up with. So before I found fitness, struggled. I am not good at any sport, I'm not that smart. You know, what am I here for? I knew always that God had put me here for something special, but I couldn't figure out what it was. And it wasn't until I got down and dirty with myself to say, you've got to quit eating so much. You're probably going to need to work out. And what it did for me, I was never athletic, but I can be fit. Fit has everything to do with your will and your daily desire and your decisions. So athletic and fit are 2 different things. Can I get an amen? Because I have so many people that say, I don't want to do a program because I'm not athletic. I'm like, I'm not either. If we played basketball, I'd poke you in the eye. Oh, I'm so sorry. I would kick you in the head with a ball. Like, I've tried to throw a ball at least so many times, and I hit him in a part. I'm sorry. It's just like, it doesn't work. But the point is, I didn't say what part, just a part. But the point is, you have to figure out my history, where did I come from, what are the things that I can say that can connect with someone else? Well, no one's gonna know about you, number one, unless you perfect your story, but unless you ask questions. We're gonna get into that. So I want you to really, really think about the whole idea of your story, and you must ask questions. And I have a question you're gonna write down in a little bit that I recommend you say to everyone. But first, back to you.
Okay, and so we're gonna wrap this back around. Like I thought they were gonna talk about products. We wanted to set this up first, because I remember when we were asked to speak on this subject, I loved the idea. I was like, products to paychecks, how do we take somebody on a journey? And Mindy and I, on our very first meeting, said, we can't just come in and just jump into these scenarios. We have scenarios set up that we're gonna go through, and like, okay, this is the type of person, what program would you put them in? And I was like, oh, we're missing a big step.
No, you gotta go back.
Like, you can't just go straight to products, because until you connect with somebody and you get to know them and you actually ask the questions, it doesn't matter how much you know about the products, because then you're just throwing something at them. Right. You're just throwing things at them and trying to see what sticks. And then you're basically a used car salesman, right? No offense to any used car salesmen in the room.
But it is, but it's also, it's unfeeling. It's not fun, it's not friendly. You don't feel good. No one has made you feel good. You feel no accountability to that person that's trying to sell you something. How do you feel accountable to someone? When they take an interest in you, when they ask questions, they remember how many children you have, and when you were sick, and they ask, hey, I haven't seen you here in 2 days, what have you been doing? Okay, hold up. That changes everything. That's actually what's called a relationship and a connection.
Absolutely.
And that's the beginning.
And I also think that it's really important to, okay, just a little survey here. How many people would say that their soulmate workout is, or their soulmate trainer, Shalene people? Let me see this. Wow, they're usually way noisier than that. Sean T people. Tony Horton people. Les Mills people. They're noisy too.
Are y'all raising your hand like 2 and 3 times? Just make
What?
sure.
Oh.
Like, me.
So, sometimes it's easy to think whatever.
You say gay, I'm sorry.
What?
Segi, Lee wants to raise his hand.
Any ski people?
Woo!
Love me some beast, right? Sometimes it's easy to think that whatever program fit for us is what's gonna fit for everybody. Go ahead, you look like you really had something to say.
This was actually funnier.
Oh. And so when it's so important as we go through some of these products is that you are a business owner, right? Think about this for a second. Again, don't care if you've been a coach for 7 years or 7 minutes. You're a business owner. Carl Deichler is the CEO of his company. You're the CEO of your company. Do you think any CEO of their company is not familiar with their own products? No, absolutely. If whatever business in any kind of industry you're in, you're gonna be a better business owner when you know your products. Now, does that mean you have to do every one of our programs? Absolutely not. I can tell you I have never done a Brazil butt lift workout.
Oh, you should.
What are you saying?
It's fantastic.
Oh, thank you. But I know enough about it and familiarize myself with it that I know who to connect that with as well. So I think it's important that you don't necessarily have to know the ins and outs of all the products. I really feel like you can build a very successful business if you become an expert on about 4
or 5.
4 to 5 programs. And why do you think that's important?
Well, and I mean, you eventually want to know them all. Let me say that and say just don't learn 5 and then forget it. You want to know them all, but we have found out in our experience that people kind of gear in one direction. And I mean, some people like to be more dancey. Some people like to wear makeup when they work out. What? Some people like to lift. Some people want to get as athletic as possible and sweat and be screamed at and just go nuts. I mean, like there's like 4 or 5 that you can go, okay, this is a recommendation. Here's a little bit more about it. Watch this video. Give me a call back and let's talk. But that's only after, of course, you talk to them a little bit more. But I want to go through these slides because I think this is important. What we did was we put matching people with your goals. This is just like a quick, skimming the top. So healthy eating, the cleanse. Okay, so you have the 21-day fix, which, by the way, that is almost my go-to every time in the beginning. Why? Anybody want to shout out something? And it hits the thing that we all struggle with. So anyone you talk to on Facebook, Instagram, at your church, this is a great place to start. Why? Even for dudes. It's visual. It's there. I'm sorry, all my coaches were so happy to get those stinking containers. We got containers. When I found the hummus container, I almost cried. I was like it was that big. Oh, but it's okay. But that gives you visual. It's hands-on. It's something that you feel like you can do. Real quickly, if you can write this down. If I were to give you a program, did you already write that down? That's really fast. If I were to give you a program that had 30-minute workouts and color-coded food containers, would you do it? If I were to give you a program with 30-minute workouts and color-coded food containers for the meal plan, would you do it? I dare you to post that on Facebook and see what happens. What did I just describe? 21-day fix, 30-minute workouts, color-coded food containers. But if you tell someone, you need the 21-day fix, they're gonna go, what? But you just explained on everyone's level what the 21-day fix is.
And can I say something real quick right there?
I
think
guess.
that's such a genius point that Mindy said, because again, once we drink the blue Kool-Aid, we know what the 21-day fix is. We know what the challenge pack is. These words mean nothing to the masses, specifically with a brand new program like 21-day fix.
Sure.
Something like P90X or Insanity that's been around a little bit longer, infomercials everywhere, people know. So start with the benefits. What does this program do? Without necessarily having to use the name brand of it, I think that's great. You show them the benefits first.
Well, and the point to that, too, goes into the other workouts. So many people know who Tony Horton is. They know who Shanti, they know who Shalene is. But how else could you describe that program? Because I know many people I've said, oh, it's P90X, it's Tony Horton's program. They're like, oh, I would never do that. It's too hard. I would never do that. But if you can explain the parts about the program you like, say, oh, I have this program I'm doing. It can be, 30, 60. It's really made for 90 days. But it's lifting. It's body weight lifting. It's really cool. It's this really fun, short yoga workout. But you describe it in their terms. They're like, oh, I might be interested. Tell me more. Hello. You just described P90X. You can do that with any of them, but you've got to, of course, ask questions. But think, they don't know what you know. They don't know. They don't have the T25 tattoo yet. They don't. Now, they might later. But we've got some more things here. So on the left, healthy eating. Everybody wants that, but that's so not sexy to say healthy eating. Do you want to lose weight and eat better and look good naked? Yes.
Yes.
So, and that's legal. I can say naked. You just can't say butt.
I can't say butt. You can say naked.
That's right. So healthy eating.
Learning the rules, kids.
Weight loss. Body shaping. Is it on that one too? No.
No, you are.
Look at my hair. Okay. Body shaping. Advanced fitness. Okay, we need to talk about this real fast. How many people tell you, I have to do Insanity? I must do Insanity. Okay, I have people all the time. I'm doing Insanity. I've got to do Insanity. Why? Please tell me why. Everyone in the world, it can be a guy that's 200-300 pounds overweight. He has to do Insanity. Why? It looks so cool. Yeah. It looks so cool. You're like the cool kid. I mean, because they all look so cool and tough and athletic. Should that guy start with Insanity? Like, let's be honest. You love it. It's fine. You can love it. By not recommending it at first, that doesn't mean you don't love it. It means you care more about that person's future and their longevity with you as a lifer. So think about that. Advanced fitness is awesome. But are you going to start people on all of those immediately, especially if you don't know their background? Or maybe they haven't worked out in a while, right? You understand what I'm saying? They're fantastic. Something to work up to. All right?
And I think that's such a great point as we look at this and you look at time-saving workouts. For me, this is a great thing to lead with. Yes. Because that's the number one excuse that people don't have time. So they're going to be intimidated by certain workouts.
Yes.
Or like Mindy said, they're not educated enough to know that insanity is not a great starting point. Because again, while we're putting ourselves in the mind of the person we're trying to help, we want a long-term relationship. We want the person, like me, who ended up really, even as a customer, over a 10-year relationship with Beachbody. But it's so important. What's the appetizer, right? If you're going to go in for like a long meal, what's the first taste? What's going to keep you at the table? And so what we're taking you through today is we want to make sure that they have the best first experience. Because if you have a good first experience, you're going to go back. And then you're going to go back and you're going to continue if you take the right path.
Right, and it's just getting people into the cultures. That's kind of what we're trying to get at here. We have amazing products. Hello, but kind of where does it start? Why is that picture up there? Oh, that's you and me and Payo.
It is.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I don't know how that got in there.
Can't really say.
That's it. Oh, sorry. I was too busy.
You're so distracted.
I was like, I'm so excited. So time saving, well, the accountability thing is why we left this last is because, okay, talking to someone, yes, we want to lose weight. Yes, I think this program might work for you. Accountability is us. So within a program, you get the workout, you get the meal plan, you can even go online and do stuff, but who truly is the accountability? It's us or the accountability. We make them feel as we draw them in, whether they're in a challenge group or they're a friend of yours, and you're like, I'm with you. I've already done this. I've done Turbo. I've lost, 65 pounds with Turbo, and I love it, and I'm with you. I feel you. I get you. I was there. The layers of accountability have so much to do with an individual's success. So if we're going through all this stuff, many people, they want all of that, but what they have missed this entire time is the accountability.
And I hear it over and over again, especially on social media, is that word motivation. Do y'all run into that a lot? You hear like, man, you talk to them about that challenge pack, or you talk to them about that program, and they're like, I really want to do that. And you're like, great, let's get started. I'm just not motivated to start. Does anybody hear that, or is it just me?
That kills me. I'm like, what?
So again, by thinking of let's start with the benefit.
Right.
As we're advertising, or as we're sharing about what we do is, what if I could give you guaranteed motivation to get up and work out for the next 30 days? I didn't lead with a program. They don't know what it is, but that's something somebody's missing. Because if I just lead with the name of the program or whatever we're going to do, again, they can go to beachbody.com and get that. They're like, oh, I've heard that before.
Nothing. There has to be something else holding them there.
Yeah, I've
and
seen
that
that
is a
before.
layer of accountability. And how you get close to someone like that is, of course, by asking questions. Can we go to the next slide, Jimmy?
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to talk about how you find people, and I get it. And I don't know why Jimmy has no pictures up in there.
Yeah, what's up with that? It's all you.
I don't know. How do you find people? We're going to start there, and then I'm going to give you that magic question. And it's going to seem so simple. That magic question has changed everything for me. Quickly, into how do you find people? I work my business, it's like 90% social media.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm saying, how many of you became a coach because you connected with your coach via social media?
Great question, Jimmy.
Wow, okay. A little over half the room. I heard a stat, actually. I was on a call with corporate not long ago, and it was really something like 85% of new coaches are coming in via social media. And I just wanted to set that up before you went into some of these, because it's about attracting people and finding more people. So please go ahead. But I think that's important to know, especially as we get into these scenarios.
Absolutely.
And a lot of these conversations that are going on aren't always face-to-face, but via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc.
Totally. And the beauty behind that is they always think you look like your picture. Like you're in your pajamas with your hair in your head. Why did no one laugh at that? Your picture on Facebook? Wow, you look like you're so pretty at 4 a.m. in the morning. Well, okay. All right. That one just totally bombed. But how do you find people? Instagram, Facebook, so many places. But what we're going at, like with these picture examples, we have to find a way to connect. And everyone can put the product on a picture, but that means nothing. That means nothing to me. I want to know about you. I like you. Okay, now tell me more. Someone needs to like you, and I don't mean likes. They need to like you or like something about you or look up to you or want to know more. That's when the relationship happens.
I was just going to say, just looking at your posts, and if you don't follow Mindy on Instagram, God, you're going to get so many new followers today. Look at this. Follow Mindy Lawhorn.
Please.
But what I love about this is there's no links involved here, right? There's no mention really of a product. You're seeing a story. We started this off at the top saying that every person in here represents a story, regardless of where you are in your journey, either as a coach or in your fitness journey. But just looking at these pictures, I have a sense of who Mindy is. Do I like her? Do I see myself in her? Do I see something in her that I would like to be? And that's really important when you're making these connections.
Well, does she look like the real deal, or do you look like the real deal? Are you living that full package life? And I'm sorry, that's a very big deal. It's fine if you've lost weight, that's great. But if it's this weight loss thing, and then the next thing is this terrible negative post, and the whole laundry on Facebook, it's like, I don't know what to think about that person. And then you never actually get to make the connection and have the conversation because they're like totally not sure. So Sandy, the lady who was putting this together, she goes, we really need example posts. And okay, this is my personality. So please, if you're like, I would never do a weird hand, leg thing stand on the wall there, don't. But to me, that's funny and it's fun. And I want to attract people that are funny and fun and get it, or get me, because then they're going to be so much more fun to coach and we're going to have fun. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like, why are you doing that? That's weird.
And
I'm like, go coach with Jimmy then. I'm kidding. But anyway, wait,
you
I
talk
gotta
about
finish.
life.
So that shows your personality. And the one, this is really funny. That one, that's my husband and I. We do like that's one of those like borderline. Is this weird? Like, is this weird? But I'm
How
like,
long
oh my gosh,
did
I
that
want to
picture
try it.
take to set up?
Well, we have it on burst mode, by the way, and it's this hysterical like picture of me going, like laughing my butt off, falling, and Lee's sweating, and I'm pulling his hamstring, and he's like, oh, holding me up. But point is, we put that in there is that's us. I want everyone to know that I love my husband. Family is a very, very, very big deal to me. Like, I'll post about all kinds of things. My faith, I have something funny, my weight loss, and then I love, like, the one I'm like, don't let others put out your fire. And I'm like, that's so interesting because I felt that fire put out forever because I was a chubby girl that couldn't play basketball, that I wanted so badly to do all that stuff, but I couldn't. And I'm like, how can I use who I was and what I've went through, just like what Darren Hardy said today? Oh my gosh, did y'all hear him? I love him, but not like in a weird way. And I was like, that's so true because it's only through the fire that we are refined. It's through those struggles that we can reach the most and change the most. So think about with you, what about me has happened? What is happening? Where am I being hard pressed? Where am I struggling now? How can I show that to others? I'm sorry, Jimmy, I'm almost done. But that, I want people to see my entire personality. And then, oh yes, I happen to own a business as well. And I think that's why the business has grown so much because I love Beachbody. I don't just want to be a Beachbody coach. I want to be a great mom and wife, and I want to be a fantastic business owner. And a lot of that comes from reaching people kind of through the back door. That sounded weird, but you know what I mean? Like, just not like, here, try the T25. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, by the way, cute shoes. I'm sorry, that's a girl thing. You start talking about it. And I just think that that's important. Think about you. Like, if something just came to your mind, do you dance? Do you sew? Did you used to play lacrosse? Were you a professional lacrosse player? Will you raise your hand? Okay, just make sure. Hi, there's one in every crowd. Examples.
And I think it's important because we're talking about products to Paychecks, and I'm not looking for the one person that's going to buy a challenge pack from me and then go away. Mindy's used the word lifer a couple times, and I think it's really important. And that goes right along with this, because if somebody's going to be a lifer with me, I want them to get me.
Totally.
Right? Like, I want
them to get you.
We were talking about this last night, and I said, it's like if you're going to go on a cross-country road trip, and there's 4 of you. And there's 3 of you in the car that like the same music and like the same movies, and you have kind of the same quirky sense of humor, but there's the one guy that somehow got into the car that doesn't get your jokes, thinks you're really inappropriate, doesn't like your
Takes
language.
off his shoes in the car.
Yeah. And so all of a sudden, the rest of the car doesn't get to have as much fun because they're always trying to morph to like not offend that person or to make sure that they feel okay. But what I would rather do is just attract the people that get me.
Right.
And I see coaches so many times when they're sharing face-to-face in person out in life or via social media, stuff like this, that they see something another coach does and says, oh, that has a gajillion likes and shares and everybody, so I'm just gonna carbon copy that and post the same thing. And they get really discouraged because they don't have the same results. But that's like Mindy posting something about fabulous high-heeled shoes. I'm not going to get the same reaction to that. I'm going to attract a very different audience.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that audience. But you know what I'm saying? So I want to be me, boldly me.
And you should be.
And I almost want to either attract or repel someone. Please write that down. You want to attract or repel. When I was a theater major in college, right? Dropped out 3 times, I told you that. But I did go to class a few times between the dropouts. And I had a professor that told me something, and I never forget it, and it really applies to Beachbody. He said, when you walk into an audition, he said, you don't have very long to make an impression. You want them to love you or hate you. If you walked in and they really didn't have an opinion about you, you wasted your time.
Yeah, me.
If you were just meh, don't be meh, right?
Meh.
Figure out what it is about you and then be boldly that. And the cool thing about social media posts like this is you can be boldly you. what are you besides a Beachbody coach? Like, don't lead with that. Like, for me, really unique thing about me, I'm a ravenous football fan, and I love musical theater. You don't find many people that like both,
What?
right? Yeah, right? So I can make jokes about that, but there are other people out there that get that. They get me. And if I'm making posts like this and I know somebody's continuing to follow or interact, then I know, I was like, they get me. We're going to go on a journey for a while together, and I think that's helpful.
Totally, absolutely. So moving on with this, the first bullet point, really, in my opinion, it's like almost should be the only one. Ask questions. So let's pretend you started a conversation with someone. You found someone, hi Meredith, I just saw you. You somehow started talking to someone. I mean, like seriously, I have commented on so many people's pictures, just like, I love your hair. Oh my gosh, your earrings are gorgeous. Your shoes are awesome. Sorry, it's my language. And that's how it began. And I have many of those as my coaches now. And I all started by asking questions. Of course, then we got into the whole fitness thing. So here's the magic question I want to share with you. I want you to write this down. Imagine you did that to someone, or I don't know, my husband likes Jeeps. He has a few. And I know, and he's like, can we get rid of your car so I can get another Jeep? No, but he's not gonna talk to me about shoes, but he would comment like, oh my gosh, nice Jeep, or nice wheels, whatever. And that's how it starts. So with those people that I started that conversation with, I didn't go right into this. Or people ask me, oh, you're a coach, obviously, what do you do? You've lost weight. Tell me more about the programs. And I say, okay, I'd love to, but give me 1 second first. Tell me more about you. Write that down, please. That's the magic question. And you're like, what the heck? That's like so not anything big. I dare you to try it. Tell me more about you. So you start there. And even if they're like begging you, give me this, I want to do this. And you're like, I'd love to help you. First of all, tell me more about you. What do you like? What do you like to do? Do you like to move to the beat of the music? Do you not? I mean, like, can you not? You know, even if you tried, tell me more about you. This is where the relationship starts, and that's where the true connection. Will you say it back to me? And then make it sound like you. Tell me more about you. Okay, now make it sound like you. Moderately funny, moderately funny. That is the magic question, and that is something that changed in my business. Seriously, and maybe like 2 years ago, that sounds like so terrible. I should have been asking it the whole time. So I'm like, oh, and this is how I lost weight, and this is why the program's good, and you're gonna love it when you do the Learn and Burn, because it's so much fun. And you know, it's like I just went on and it was all me, 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 and they're like, I don't even know you. I'm trying to get you to help me. Everybody loves to talk about themselves. Everybody wants someone to be invested, and especially someone they look up to. I mean, they look up to you a little, they're asking you for help or recommendations. First of all, let me learn a little bit more. Tell me more about you. And just let them go. Sit back and kind of. And as they're answering those questions, you're, of course, taking mental notes, what sticks out, and that will lead to your recommendations.
And it's so funny because I thought of two scenarios as you were telling that story as well. And I see this all the time on, let's say Instagram. Let's say it was Mindy's before and after picture. And somebody comments, oh my gosh, amazing results. And I see it all the time, and I cringe that a coach, maybe they'll post that, somebody says, amazing results, and they immediately go into that pitch. Oh, thank you so much for my results. You can have the same ones too. You blah, 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 and they disappear. Because you're like, I got them on the hook. I got to reel them in really, 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 really fast. And the story that I thought about is I used to have I don't really use business cards anymore, but I used to have business cards with my before and after picture on them. After this story, I may go back and get more business cards now. But I was at the grocery store, and I took out my wallet to pay, and the gentleman behind me happened to look over my shoulder and see the before and after picture. And he's like, holy smokes, is that you? And I was like, yes. And for the next 5 minutes, I didn't breathe because I went into the entire scenario. Yeah, this was me, I was heavy, this was me, and it's a theater major, and I didn't like that, blah, blah, blah. And then I found Power 90, and then went to P90X. I lost 100 pounds, and now I'm looking to help other people. Do you want to get started? Like 5 minutes into this, and he's like,
what just happened?
And he just looked at me, he's like, oh, I either asked, can I send you some information, or would you like to get started too? And I told him like this amazing story, like I was really good at this story. And he's like, no. But you just said you like my picture. Yeah, I'm not interested, thanks. And I probably wandered around the parking lot to my car like, what just happened?
Because that was good.
My picture rocked. My story's awesome. I've lost 100 pounds. Why wouldn't you want to be just like me? Was my thought. And Mindy hit on it. Because it ain't about me and it's not about you. The smart thing and what I do now when somebody sees that picture or says, oh, do you do that insanity? Or do you work out? Or tell me how you lost weight? I would love to. Why? Do you work out too? Oh, I'm so passionate about my health and fitness and what I can do now. Are you passionate about that as well? I love all the free time I have as a coach. Do you love your job just as much? And then you have to shut up either in person, or the beautiful thing about social media is you don't have the pressure to be on to respond initially. So always like, if this is my phone, and all of a sudden you think, oh, this is it, I got them, they're interested. Put it down, step away from it. What can I ask them?
Got it. All right, no, excellent. So ask questions, of course, listen for cues. The cues are the things we mentioned. Do they like to dance? Do they like to be athletic? Were they athletic before? Some people like to run marathons. I mean, some people like to lift heavy. Some people have never worked out in their life. You have to figure out, okay, once you're listening, you're making cues, mental or written. But you want to have, valuable concerns and recommend. So what does that say, by the way? Validate, sorry, I'm on the side here. I think I wrote it, but it was a long time ago. So validate their concerns, like, oh, I get it, I was there, I understand, or I understand how you feel.
And I love the second one too. I don't want to raise it. What do you think when you're listening for cues? Because we're going to get to how do we pair them with the right program. What is something you listen for in their response that you're making this mental note?
Well, I listen for what they like most of all, because if I can get them in with one thing they like, and it may not be the program that they lose weight with, it may not be like their soulmate program, but if I can get them in one that they kind of like, they're probably going to do it. And then as they're doing it, and I'm talking to them daily or once a week, then I'm going to go, you know what else I've thought of? You would also probably really like this, which maybe it's more expensive or maybe it's a longer program, but it's just the next step. So it's got to be something just to get them in the door. And sometimes it's Shakeology. Sometimes he said it was Activate. Is that right?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. I mean, some people, it's just one little thing. We have one of our neighbors who loves the recovery formula so much. Like, she's buying it all the time. And I'm, hey, here's recovery. Well, of course, now she's a coach. She's, we've had parties at her house multiple times. But it all started with just one little tiny thing. And I was like, get Shakeology. She's like, no. I go, you work out, you sweat? How about this? And that's how it all went down.
Yeah, and it always starts with that. And what I love about the again, play the long game here, guys. Don't always be looking for the quick sell, the quick thing. Because if I take a little more time with somebody and they become the next me, whether that's just as a customer for 7 years or that they're going to be your next future elite coach on your team that's going to help you build a big organization, is it worth you taking some time and not jumping straight to the buy now button the minute they show a little interest?
Yes, and take it from the old people here, but seriously, 6 years into this, I'm like, oh, it's so dumb. Like, does anybody get in? Remember when we got in? Raise your hand. Patent printers. They were like, you have to go to Walmart or Target and talk to at least 2 people a day, verbally and out loud. Like, I would be behind someone in line, I would start shaking. Throw up something. I hated having to do that because I was so nervous. But they were trying. I'm sure there's a good intent there, but it made us all freak out, made us not want to talk to anyone, and then we were so scared to talk to anyone one-on-one, but we were thinking about the short sell. Get someone to buy it. Get someone to buy it. No, I want someone buying it every month. I want someone in my family forever.
And it's so easy to sometimes feel that pressure because something like Success Club, right? Tell me if this scenario sounds familiar. 2 days left in the month. 0 points. Anybody been there?
The last day.
And you feel that clammy, sweaty thing in your palm. You're like, I got to make Success Club. And then you get to the point where you just look at every individual as success. It's like your Success Club points and your
That's
Success
one.
Club points
That's
and
two.
your Success Club points, and that's this much commission, and that'll pay my cell phone bill. And then you're not connecting with people anymore. But if you're doing the things that Mindy has really laid out about these relationships and listening all the time, every day, you start feeling that pipeline that you never feel that pressure to hit Success Club, and that you don't have to compromise. You don't have to compromise your integrity as a coach.
And it doesn't have to be slimy and short, and this is about me. Hi, buy this. This is about me. No, it's about you. It's about everyone else. So let's go ahead and get through this slide. So real quick, what we put on there, I'm sorry. Will you go back?
Can I go back? Can I?
Sorry.
Oh, I can.
So on that, validate concerns. When people say, no, I really don't want to do that, I have a bad knee. I've heard that so many times. I have a bad knee, I can't. No, hold up. I have a bad shoulder. Okay, hold up, here's some ideas. Validate their concerns. Oh, I get it. No, I felt the same way, or my husband has that same problem, or I have another friend that has that same issue, and here's an idea. But you recommend things. And if you'll use the word recommend, it's so much better. You'll say, well, here's a thought. Here's what I recommend, and this is why. Think, here's what I recommend, and this is why. Give them some things, take it or leave it, but give them something to chew on without you telling them or forcing them to do something. And then the last thing we wanted to say, follow up, of course, with information, but I love sending people videos, because everybody will watch a video. They will never read my long, detailed, juicy. I'm like, this was so good. No, just give me a video. Success stories, anything that gets it real and they can feel it. And by the way, as a coach, has everyone at least watched the intro to Beachbody video on YouTube? It is on my phone in my notes section. Why? Because that video does more in 7 minutes than I can do in a month talking to someone to be a coach. If you don't know what it is, it's called Intro to Beachbody. It's on YouTube. Go to the Team Beachbody site on YouTube.
The channel,
excuse me. And then look, Intro to Beachbody. It's fantastic. That's my go-to. And that's something very good, but that's what I would send them, possibly something about a program first. But if they're interested in being a coach, I'm like, you know what, if you're gonna get the program, might as well think about getting a discount. Something to think about.
And I think the other part there is the success stories. So we said that successful business owner, you should know your products. But it really is impossible for me to say, then I need you to go do every one of our workouts. But what's so cool is whether it's the Team Beachbody YouTube channel, which I think is a huge.
It's huge.
It's such a
so
great
easy.
tool. Like
So
subscribe there, get familiar with it. But there's so many stories there. And what the story is gonna do is give somebody an idea of what type of program it is.
Right.
And almost in every one of those stories, somewhere along the line, that person shares an objection or something they were struggling with to overcome. Be a collector of these stories while you're also going through the programs, because maybe you are that Shaun T person and you just don't want to do X3 necessarily. You're like, man, that's my homie. I'm gonna stay with Shaun here. But you can still collect stories from other people that have had success with X3.
Absolutely.
Because when you come across somebody, and the more stories you hear from people, the more you're gonna say, I get the type of person that vibes with Tony, or I get the type of person that Shalene talks to. And as you collect those stories, then you have those. That's kind of like the tools in your tool belt.
Well, it is. It's like, here's another idea. Oh, here's another friend of mine. Here's just what happens. She was also this or that. You're just sharing those stories to kind of get them in. So let's go ahead and go on to the next stuff. So we want to see if you guys can help us out here. We've got some scenarios we want to share with you. So let's pretend we met Jessica. She's a stay-at-home mom of 2, and she enjoys marathons, which I think that's a complete lie. Who enjoys marathons. Let's just say she's talking to you. You don't have time to run like I want to run. I want to know more about programs. And of course, you already asked questions. That's how you found this information out. Yell out what you might recommend to her. T25. Okay, I recommend T25, and this is why. Why? It's fast, time. What else? Cardio. High energy. Is there a modifier? My knee's kind of bad. Oh, there is. Oh, okay. Anything else? Like, I could do a ton for her. Les Mills Pump. Insanity. Really? Oh, yeah. Totally Insanity. You're right. I'm sorry. I was thinking about the name. Pyo.
Absolutely.
All right, combat. Okay, so, and then you'll say that, and this is why. So let's do this one more time. So who said combat? Okay, I'm that girl. You say, I'm going to say I recommend combat, and this is why.
Ooh, did y'all hear that?
Okay,
As a mother of 2, it helps
Relatable.
me get out my aggression.
And you can put a smiley face, even though inside you're really like, I'm so telling the truth. And then what
It
else
keeps
could you
child
say?
services from being called.
Haha. What else could you say that you could say? It helps me get out my aggression. Ha ha ha. Makes me feel powerful. Do you enjoy it? And is it fast, or is it like 4 hours a day? I know, no, but it's a good amount of time. I mean, it's doable. Or just pick the ones that you can do for the time. Great. All right, move on. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Jimmy, you do this next one.
Ooh, me. I'm an 18-year-old freshman girl who's a full-time college student. Okay, so freshman. I was fat in college, so I go straight to the freshman 15 is my
But you
thought.
were not a girl.
What?
You were not a girl.
I was not a girl.
Okay.
No, thank you.
It's really it.
So many
Full-time
cross-dressing
college student,
references
okay.
today on stage.
You asked.
So, you see this person, maybe you see them posting on Facebook. Your first mental note. Give me a program you think would be great for her. I heard 21 Day Fix, what else? PIO and Combat. Why?
I heard hip-hop abs. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, so I have to put my... Do we
She's
have
a
it?
girl, and she's a freshman, and she's in college.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, she probably wants to dance and take selfies, and I mean, come on, get something fun. Exactly. Why does no one ever say Turbo Jam anymore? It's still in the back office.
So I think that's great because...
No, it's good, because like we got to think about this. Okay, what can I say to her? What makes sense? Think about it. Say, here's what I recommend and why. So what did someone say? Turbo Fire. Okay, say it. Say, I recommend Turbo Fire and why? Did y'all hear that? My gosh.
Great.
I think we may need a mic down there. That was fantastic.
Great music. There's short workouts in it that you can get done between study sessions. What was the third one?
And you can be cute like me is what she said. Because she's very cute.
High impact.
High energy. I'm sorry.
I think that's good. I
prefer
think the
high energy.
time ones are always good. Because I know, a freshman feeling overwhelmed in a new environment, more than likely scared, because every college kid knows about the freshman 15. So I would lead with that, like, let's
Freshman
prevent
45.
it. Or 25,
25,
or
45.
100.
Is there something? Yeah.
And so you lead with those benefits. You have to put yourself in the mindset of that individual. What is their life like?
But having these ready and quick is the key. So let's keep going. We've got a lot.
Oh, this one's you.
Okay, 28-year-old guy, broke and in between jobs. Anyone? Don't let broke scare you. Broke doesn't mean broke.
Power 90.
Power 90? Okay, what else? Come on. P90X.
P90. P90X.
So sit.
Insanity.
Sanity. Okay, what else? T25. Combat.
Body Beast. Nice. I put myself in this guy's scenario that if he's broke, then I don't go to whatever, like the 205 challenge pack. Like, you have to think about this, because he's already has the scenario where he's saying, okay, here's my objection. He's letting you know the objection straight up. Because maybe he's complaining about money. Maybe we found this guy on Facebook, and he's talking about, I just can't find a job. And now I don't have...
I just have to show you that, sorry.
Oh, thank you. Where did the time go?
I don't know, but I have something very important to say about this guy.
Go ahead.
I've had so many people tell me, oh, they want to do it, and they tell me all the reasons, and they're dying, and oh my gosh, I will do anything to lose this weight. I will do anything. Like, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to have come into my new challenge group, and you're going to buy this. And she's like, oh, well, that's a little too expensive. And I said, hold up. So, $50 doesn't fall under the category of anything. And then I see her post later with a new bag. And I want to so badly go, hold up, you said you were broke. I was about to give you what could be a life change, and you bought a bag. What's that bag going to do for you? There's a nicer way to say that, of course, but think about that. I mean, people will spend $200 on shoes and bag, but they won't spend $200 on possibly a different future. We have to love them into this by saying, here, I'm just going to let you know. With this broke guy, though, I would say, I get it, I feel you, and I just want to tell you what we've done. Making that step, maybe even putting it on a credit card, whatever you've got to do, borrow the money, it has completely changed our lives. Not only did it lose the weight, we paid off $70,000 worth of debt. My husband works at home, I work at home, we built our dream house, and our pool for cash, and I tell him that whole story, and I said it all started with one thing. Would you consider, let's revamp and find a way we can find $50? You can find $50 if you want $50. Can I get an amen? You have to make it powerful and tight so they can't get out of it.
And no,
it's their future.
It's so true. And it's like we touched about on the first. It's not always challenge pack or bust, guys. It really isn't.
Yeah, I know.
And I think so many coaches think, they're like, oh, I can't do that challenge pack. So there's an individual whose life we could change and impact.
And it may not mean a Success Club point.
Say that again. I'll say my part, then you say your part.
Okay,
We're doing
ready?
skip.
Is this
Okay.
being filmed? Ready?
There is an opportunity to change a life sitting there, and what?
And it may not equal a Success Club point. Was that profound? Boom.
So what happens if you were like me, right? I was this dude. I wasn't 28, but I was 22. Oh, man. Okay, I want to touch on this point, though. So I was 22, broke in between jobs, 100 pounds overweight. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I'll be really honest with you. I wouldn't have found a way necessarily to come in at a 205 challenge pack. But had someone not continued to share with me and allowed me to find something comfortable in that I could start with, because at the time, Power 90 was a jump for me financially. But he found something that would let me take one step and then put them in an environment. So let's say you're willing to run a challenge group where not everybody starts in a challenge pack, but you have you and some of your coaches that are in there talking about Shakeology or talking about the other benefits of some of the other programs. You've just put that individual in what I like to call a Shakeology-friendly environment, right? And they had the opportunity, like, okay, all I could afford, maybe it was Body Beast, right? And I think that's like $60 or something. It's a lower dollar product. And like, I don't want to do the shakes. Do you get that every time? I want the program, but I don't want to do the Shakeology, right? I get that all the time. And I try to tell them the benefit. I'm like, I understand. And I said, I just let them know that 9 times out of 10, you can start with just the program. You're going to save money by getting the Shakeology up front. But if it really is an ender, let's just get you started. And it never fails. About a month into the group where everybody else is talking about Shakeology,
totally find it, right.
They upgrade themselves. That's what I did on the message boards back in the day. Started with Power 90, got in and saw people talking about the other supplements.
3.
I didn't think that I could be on Home Direct. And the next thing I knew, I was on $200 with a Home Direct because I stepped myself into it.
We have so many more scenarios. Just go real fast. Go boom, 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 real fast. So get comfortable with thinking, okay, I see this. What could I do there? What could I do there? First, ask. Tell me more about you. Second, figure out a way that you can learn these programs enough to say, this is what I recommend and why. Retired, skinny, I mean, just think of anything you can, and we were going to go through these, but that was just
when
sort
you
of
get these slides, and we'll wrap with this, when you get these slides,
you can have them.
Go through each of these scenarios and write little notes, because then you're prepared when you come across these people.
Copy and paste.
And then you can copy and paste, and you have a library of responses to different scenarios. Make up your own scenarios so you're prepared and not caught off guard once you come in contact with these people.
We're out of time.
Then wrap us up.
All right. Thank you so much for coming. Remember, it's about them, not you. Keep going. I'll see you next summit.
Thank you so much.
One more time
Talent
for
show
Jenny
tonight.
Nelson and Mindy Lohor.
There's a talent show tonight. Don't forget.